Let's now plan this essay on city traffic. We'll read the question first. In most major cities of the world, the volume of traffic is growing at an alarming rate. This has led some city planners to state that more spending in roads is needed in order to ease congestion. To what extent do you agree with this argument? So do we agree that more spending on roads should occur? So that's the question. Let's underline some of these key words so we just make sure we've got it. The volume of traffic is growing. This has led some city planners, so people who work as city planners, state that more spending on the roads is needed to ease congestion. Okay, so we've got these key words here, and to what extent do you agree? So do we agree? That's the key part of it. We're going to start with a little little mind map, and I like this idea of just making it nice and simple, and I'm just going to say something like traffic problems. So when you're doing the test, you have probably 3 or 4 minutes to make your plan, and if you've got a really good plan, well, it's going to make everything much easier in the future as you write. So traffic problems, we got we know talking about roads, we're talking about the different cars, we're talking about what work, people going to work each day, we're talking about sort of some of the trucks and some of the heavy traffic. And what do we think about them? We think about sort of pollution. So I'm just brainstorming at the moment. I'm talking about one side of the argument, pollution, and like we said, there could be some sort of congestion here. Okay, so we got some ideas. And on the other side, is there an alternative? Because if there's one of these agree with this argument, there must be an alternative. And so many IELTS essays have one side or the other, and it's up to you to try and find what the two sides of the argument are. So what is the alternative to this? Well, you might have already sort of guessed it. It's obviously public transport, and most IELTS tests, or many IELTS tests, there'll be some mention of public transport along the way because it's such a great topic to talk about. So public transport, buses. What else do we know? We know obviously there's trains, and there might be ferries. What else could there be? There might even be some sort of future innovations. And this is kind of interesting. We know with technology there might be some way to quickly transport people. So there's our quick little bit of brainstorming, and I try and think, well, if I agree, then I'm going to say that these are the most important. But if I disagree, then I'm probably going to say that there's more emphasis on here. And I know that this is a pretty good topic at the moment to talk about the public transport. So let's see if we can put that into our essay. So the topic overall is a simple one. It's pretty much the idea that too much traffic leads to congestion, Okay, and so the question, should new roads be built with the additional spending, or are there alternatives? Okay, and the alternatives, as we mentioned, were some of these. And then the last part, the opinion. Well, the opinion is going to be that this essay will disagree that more roads should be built. Why? Because we should have more public transport. Okay, so there we go. That's our introduction in a nutshell, the 3 main parts of the intro. Then my body paragraph 1, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about this side of the argument. I won't make it strong, but I'll just mention it. And I'll say that, of course, there are some road upgrades are required. My body paragraph 2, I'm going to say this is where I'm really going to talk about public transport, and I'll talk about my trains, I'll talk about buses, and I'll talk about possibly new forms of transport. And then in my conclusion, I'll again sort of restate this idea that public transport infrastructure is the best value for money. So there we go. We've got a pretty nice little structure there. I know exactly what my paragraphs are going to be. There's my intro already done. And then I've got my two body paragraphs, conclusion. And overall, it should be a really nice essay.